In the tranquil village of Gokula, sunlight filtered through the leaves of the trees, creating a golden carpet on the ground. Krishna, a young shepherd with radiant skin and dark hair like the night, walked among the green fields, his hands holding a wooden flute. The sweet, melodic sound that emanated from his instrument attracted all the villagers, who found it impossible to resist the charm of the young man. His faithful companions, the cows, followed him as if they knew they were in the presence of someone special. "Krishna, you always enchant us with your music," exclaimed a young villager, her eyes shining with admiration. The devoted Radha, who watched the scene with a smile, felt her heart race. "You should play more for us. Spring is in celebration," she suggested, her long hair dancing in the wind. "Only if you dance with me, Radha," Krishna replied, winking at her. The air was filled with joy and laughter as the villagers prepared for the spring celebration. But even though the atmosphere was festive, a slight shadow lingered in Krishna's heart. He sensed that something was about to change. As the dances and songs began, Arjuna, his loyal friend, approached, adjusting the headband on his forehead. "I'm getting ready for the skills tournament, Krishna. I want to show everyone that I'm worthy of becoming a great warrior," he said, determination in his voice. "You've always been a great warrior, Arjuna. The tournament won't measure your courage, but rather your friendship and loyalty," Krishna replied with an encouraging smile. However, Krishna's gaze drifted toward the horizon, where a mysterious traveler was walking toward the village, his silhouette shrouded in mystery. When the traveler entered Gokula, the murmurs of the crowd fell silent. "Listen, an ancient demon, Kalayavan, is about to awaken from his millennial slumber," announced the stranger, his voice echoing like thunder. The villagers exchanged confused and worried glances, while Krishna felt a sense of urgency to act. He knew that the warnings weren't just empty words but a call to action. "We need to come together and prepare, friends," Krishna said, but his words fell on deaf ears. Many laughed, believing it was just another tale from a traveler. Radha, sensing the concern on Krishna's face, took his hand. "I know you feel the truth in your heart. Don't give up on protecting us," she whispered, determined to support her friend. The celebration continued, but the approaching shadow became increasingly palpable, and Krishna knew time was running out. Krishna ventured into the dense forest, where sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating a dance of shadows and light on the ground. The birds' songs filled the air, but in his heart there was unease. He needed to uncover the truth behind the rumors circulating in Gokula. With determination, he headed toward a cave that, according to the mysterious traveler, held ancient secrets. As he approached the cave entrance, a chilling cold enveloped him, as if the very place was warning him of what lay ahead. "Who dares disturb my rest?" A voice echoed from within the cave, causing Krishna to stop in his tracks. He hesitated, but curiosity and a sense of responsibility compelled him to enter. The cave was filled with stalactites that sparkled like stars in the moonlight. In the center, a sage with long white beard sat, surrounded by an aura of wisdom. "Krishna, the Avatar of Vishnu," said the sage with a gentle smile. "I've been expecting you. Kalayavan is about to awaken, and a group of fanatical followers is behind this." "Followers? What do they want?" Krishna asked, concern growing in his chest. "Chaos and destruction. They believe that by bringing Kalayavan back, they can conquer the world," the sage replied, his penetrating gaze fixed on Krishna. "But you, young god, possess the power to stop them. The faith of the innocent must be protected." With these words, Krishna felt a weight on his shoulders. He knew he could not fail. As he left the cave, his thoughts turned to Gokula, where Radha and Arjuna were. Meanwhile, in Gokula, Radha and Arjuna were in the midst of a meeting with the villagers, trying to dispel the tension hanging in the air. "We need to be prepared for anything," Arjuna said, looking around. "But what if this is just a rumor? We can't underestimate the possibility that something evil is approaching," Radha replied, her eyes conveying worry. "But we also can't let fear dominate our hearts." At that moment, one of Kalayavan's followers, disguised as an ordinary villager, blended in among them, listening to every word. He knew that suspicion and fear could be their best weapons. With a mischievous smile, he prepared to sow discord, while Krishna headed toward Gokula, determined to protect those he loved. Krishna returned to Gokula with a heavy heart, the urgency of the situation burning within him. He found Radha and Arjuna gathered with the villagers in the central square, where the atmosphere, once vibrant and festive, now felt tense. The tone of their voices was cautious, and suspicious glances were exchanged. It was the perfect moment to share his warning about Kalayavan. "Friends, we need to talk," Krishna began, his serious tone capturing everyone's attention. "Kalayavan is about to awaken, and his followers are already among us." Murmurs intensified. A tall man with a defiant gaze stood up. "And do you believe the stories of a traveler? What assurance do we have that this isn't just a trick to instill fear?" Krishna took a deep breath, aware that distrust had settled in. "Whether you believe the rumors or not won't change the fact that we need to prepare. The real danger lies in our lack of unity." At that moment, the disguised follower, who had infiltrated the village, watched with a subtle smile. He knew that discord was the first step toward achieving his goal. Skillfully, he intervened. "What if Krishna is mistaken? What if he is the true enemy, trying to divide you?" The seed of doubt quickly germinated among the villagers. Arjuna, noticing the manipulation, decided to investigate further. "I will uncover this man's origins," he declared, his voice firm. "Let me handle this." Radha, sensing the deepening division, placed her hand on his shoulder. "We need to unite, Arjuna. We cannot let distrust tear us apart." "I agree, Radha," Arjuna replied, looking into her eyes. "But the truth needs to be discovered. I will do this for all of us." As Arjuna moved away to carry out his investigation, the disguised follower approached a group of villagers. "Krishna may be deceiving you," he insinuated, his voice smooth as poison. "Why not question him? What does he truly want?" Tension escalated when the true form of the follower was revealed in a moment of anger. With a snap, he transformed, showing himself as an emissary of Kalayavan. "You have grown weak," he declared, his voice echoing with power. "Now, chaos will begin." Fear spread like wildfire. The battle was about to commence, and the villagers, divided and confused, prepared to face the threat that had emerged from within their ranks. Krishna, with determination blazing in his heart, knew it was time to act. He positioned himself in front of the inhabitants, ready to protect Gokula with all his strength and wisdom. The air was heavy with tension as Gokula began to recover from the attack by Kalayavan's followers. Krishna, with a steady gaze, watched the villagers regroup. He knew that victory was only temporary. The true challenge still lay ahead. Beside him, Radha and Arjuna approached, concern etched on their faces. "We need a plan, Krishna," Arjuna said, his voice grave. "The demon won't stop until he gets what he wants." "I agree," Krishna replied, his serene expression contrasting with the urgency of the situation. "Kalayavan is not a common enemy. He feeds on fear and discord. We need to unite the villagers and strengthen their faith." Radha, always by Krishna's side, looked at him with determination. "But how can we do that if distrust has already spread among them? The disguised follower has planted seeds of uncertainty." "Let's call for a meeting," Krishna suggested, his voice resonating with authority. "We need to show them that true power lies in unity and trust. If they come together, they can repel any threat." As the three discussed, a shadow approached stealthily, observing them with a malicious smile. The disguised follower, who had escaped the battle, hid in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. He knew that with Kalayavan approaching, the opportunity to bring the demon to life was within his grasp. "Let's gather everyone in the village center at dusk," Krishna said, interrupting the dark thoughts that surrounded the scene. "We need everyone to hear the truth." The idea of a meeting brought a slight sense of relief to Radha and Arjuna, but the feeling that something was still amiss lingered in the air. As the sun set, the inhabitants of Gokula began to assemble, still hesitant, but drawn by the hope that Krishna always radiated. The firelight illuminated the villagers' faces, reflecting both hope and fear. Krishna stood before them, beginning to speak, his voice soft yet firm. "My friends, today we face a great adversity, but together we are stronger than any evil force. Do not let fear and distrust dominate you." At that moment, the disguised follower decided it was time to act. He rose, his sinister smile revealing his true purpose. "What if I told you that the real threat is already among you?" His voice, heavy with irony, echoed through the air, causing murmurs of concern to ripple through the crowd. Krishna fixed his gaze on the traitor, recognizing the betrayal that was about to unfold. "You are an agent of Kalayavan," Krishna asserted, his voice now filled with power. "But your manipulation will not prevail. The truth always reveals itself, and light exposes the darkness." The follower, realizing his plan was about to unravel, tried to divert attention, but Krishna, with a gesture of his hand, made the shadows around him dissipate. "Your faith and unity are more powerful than any deceit." Radha and Arjuna, standing beside Krishna, felt the strength of determination swell within them. The people of Gokula, now awakening to the truth, began to rally around their beloved Krishna, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The cool morning breeze swept through the forest as Krishna, Radha, and Arjuna hurried toward the cave where Kalayavan was about to be awakened. The sound of their hurried footsteps echoed among the trees, and the urgency of their mission became palpable. "We need to get there before it's too late," Arjuna said, his deep voice resonating among the leaves. He looked at Krishna, seeking affirmation. "Yes, Arjuna, Kalayavan's power is immense, and if he awakens, chaos will consume Gokula," Krishna replied, his gaze resolute. Radha walked alongside them, her hands intertwined, but her expression was one of concern. "Krishna, what if the traitor is waiting for us? He knows our strength, and his traps could be dreadful," Radha warned, her eyes shining with the intensity of her devotion. "We must trust each other. Together, we are stronger," Krishna replied, offering a reassuring smile. But inside, he knew the true battle was just beginning. As they reached the entrance of the cave, an overwhelming wave of energy surrounded them. The air was thick with palpable darkness, and they soon encountered traps and illusions that seemed to dance before them. Twisted shadows emerged from the walls, trying to confuse and separate the trio. "Watch out!" Arjuna shouted, dodging a sharp blade that appeared out of nowhere. "These illusions are trying to split us up. We cannot be deceived. Stay together," Krishna commanded, his voice firm and clear. He began to play his flute, creating a melody that sliced through the darkness, bringing forth the inner light that united them. As they advanced, the traitor appeared before them, surrounded by an aura of sinister power. "Ah, you finally made it. You have no idea what you're about to face," he laughed, his voice booming like thunder. "You won't stop us," Krishna replied, staring him down with determination. "And you think you can defeat me? I possess a fragment of Kalayavan's power," the traitor boasted, his gaze filled with scorn. "With this, I am nearly invincible." Krishna took a deep breath, his heart pulsing with the strength of resolve. "If you believe that power is everything, then you understand nothing. True power comes from unity and faith. Let's put an end to this now." With a swift and clever move, Krishna used his wisdom to outsmart the traitor. He began to play his flute again, infusing the melody with pure energy. The notes vibrated in the air, transforming the darkness into light. The traitor, confused, hesitated, allowing Krishna to draw closer. "You may have a fragment of Kalayavan's power, but that is not enough to overcome the light within us," Krishna declared, his voice resonating with unshakable strength. The environment began to shift, and the light from the flute intensified, enveloping the traitor in a wave of purity. Thus, as the traitor's power waned, the true battle for the salvation of Gokula was about to escalate. Krishna and his friends, Radha and Arjuna, raced along the path leading to the cave where Kalayavan was on the brink of awakening. The air was thick with energy, and a sense of urgency hung over them. The echo of their breaths mingled with the distant sound of thunder, as if the very sky sensed the calamity drawing near. We need to arrive before it's too late. Arjuna exclaimed, his gaze resolute. He turned to Krishna, seeking reassurance. Are you sure we can do this? Krishna, with a serene expression, replied, the true battle is not against Kalayavan, but against our own fears. The light will always find a way. When they reached the entrance of the cave, a sinister atmosphere enveloped them. The darkness seemed alive, pulsing like a malevolent heart. This is where everything can change, Radha murmured, her heart tight with anxiety. What if we can't do it? What if he defeats us? Radha, Krishna said, placing his hand on her shoulder. Trust and unity are our greatest weapons. Never forget that. As they entered the cave, the trio encountered a series of illusions and traps that seemed designed to separate them. Distorted images of their worst nightmares danced around, trying to distract them. Focus, Arjuna shouted, trying to shake off the confusion. We can't let ourselves be deceived. Finally, they reached a large chamber where Kalayavan, an imposing and terrifying being, slowly rose. His presence was oppressive, and his eyes, glowing like embers, radiated uncontrolled fury. Do you think you can stop me? Kalayavan roared, his voice echoing through the cave. I am the manifestation of your doubts, a reflection of your weaknesses. Krishna stepped forward, his gaze steady and filled with compassion. Kalayavan, you may be powerful, but you are not invincible. You feed on fear and insecurity. It's time to free Gokula from your influence. Free? How do you plan to do that, boy? Kalayavan laughed, dismissing Krishna's declaration. With love and understanding, Krishna replied, his voice gentle yet firm. You are merely a shadow that thrives in darkness. I will bring to light the truth hidden in every heart. Kalayavan hesitated, his eyes blazing with confusion. Krishna began to sing a soft song, a melody that spoke of hope and unity. Radha and Arjuna joined him, forming a harmonious chorus. As the music spread through the cave, the darkness began to dissipate, revealing the faces of the villagers trapped in their own insecurities. Look, Krishna exclaimed, pointing to the inhabitants of Gokula, who, like shadows, became visible on the cave walls. They are here, fearful and lost. It's time for them to be freed. With each note of the song, the villagers' insecurities started to fade. Kalayavan, faced with the love and faith radiating from Krishna, began to lose his form. The once powerful demon found himself reduced to a mere echo of his own weaknesses. It can't be! Kalayavan screamed as his figure dissolved, engulfed by the light emanating from Krishna. I am the darkness. No, you are merely a reflection, Krishna replied with compassion, and light will always prevail. The music reached its peak, and with one last chord, Kalayavan vanished, leaving only serene silence in the air. The cave, once terrifying, now shone with a warm and welcoming light. Radha and Arjuna looked at Krishna with admiration. You did it, Krishna, Radha exclaimed, tears of joy streaming down her face. I didn't do it alone, Krishna replied, looking at his friends. It was the unity of our hearts that brought true victory. With the threat of Kalayavan finally neutralized, they returned to Gokula, where the villagers awaited them, filled with hope and gratitude. The celebration of victory spread, and together they danced and sang, remembering that even in darkness, the light of faith and love always prevails.